Hello, I'm Chris Bottger, and welcome back to another album review. Today, I'm going to be looking at Peter Gabriel's first album after leaving Genesis, 1977's Peter Gabriel. Some people also call this the core album, for obvious reasons. Throughout this album, Gabriel plays around with many different sounds, such as progressive rock, jazz rock, arena rock, show tunes, and world music. Inventive to a fault, Gabriel is backed up here by the equally inventive Robert Fripp, who, aside from Gabriel, is the only constant throughout the album. Now, before we begin, the way these videos work is I will start off talking about the album and I will break it down song by song before finally giving my final ranking of the album and its packaging. I would like to encourage everyone to bear with my ramblings and watch the whole video, as I do, as always, have a lot to say. Starting off the album, we have Moribund the Burgermeister. This track shows off all the key ingredients of the album. Lots of synth keyboards and electric guitar abound, and strange song structures that change from loud to quiet when you least expect it. The song's lyrics tell a story about the leader of a town, the titular Moribund the Burgermeister, who finds much unrest among his subjects. Moribund does not understand why his subjects display signs of revolutionary action, and seem to mistake it for some sort of blight that has affected his citizens. Moribund asks his mother for help understanding the situation, and also believes that music can help calm the situation down. While Moribund throughout the song sounds confused, at the end of some verses he breaks into his cartoonishly evil voice, vowing to find out what has happened and punish those responsible. This is quite funny and helps to make the song more memorable. Overall, I'd say Moribund the Burgermeister is a song with a good story and lyrics, but rather standard production. There isn't anything in the backing I can really tune in on, or that has any really sort of wow factor to it. The song is also merely decent as an album opener, although certainly not the worst pick to start the album off with either. Solsbury Hill switches the album over to a more grounded note musically, but does the exact opposite with the lyrics. The backing here is more earthy and natural feeling than the last track, with maracas and a kick drum being very prominent next to a folksy acoustic guitar and synth horns. Near the end of the song, a heavy-sounding electric guitar kicks in to add some feedback-heavy chords to the rest of the backing. This way of adding weight to the final verse without switching up the content too much is not unlike the ending of We Will Walk You by Queen, and it works to give Solsbury Hill a proper finale. Towards the end, we also have some quiet, silly voices join in to make weird noises in the backing. I guess this is just to add a more exotic atmosphere. I didn't really notice them in the song until very recently, but they sure are weird. The lyrics to this song were also great. Gabriel frequently employs a style I referred to as lyrical spellcasting during my last Gabriel review. Here, he seems to tell the story of a man who has had some sort of spiritual experience while on Solsbury Hill. What this experience means, even to him, is very unclear. Still, the meaning isn't what's really important. The lyrics sound spiritual without actually holding any real significance outside of some vague anti-materialism. All we really need to know is that his heart was going boom boom boom, and that he heard a voice say, "Pack your things, I've come to take you home." We don't need to know what the smile on his face meant, as long as we remember that he told the others in the story what it meant. The lyrics here are great, regardless of whether they have a clear meaning or not. This is greatly aided by Gabriel's excellent lead vocal, one of the best he has done in his solo career, second only to perhaps Red Rain. Gabriel's voice on Solsbury Hill makes you believe that this man has just had some sort of spiritual revelation, even if said revelation is ultimately nonsensical. Modern Love starts off with a very epic electric guitar riff. There isn't too much going on in the backing of this song compared to the others on the album. You've still got some synth as well as the classic guitar-based drum sound. I really like the way Gabriel yells on the chorus on this song. I think his voice works really well with his more straightforward arena rock style. The song's lyrics were about how the single feels that romance is coming to be less delicate and much weirder, with the single constantly being confused by the women he tries to woo. This is all wrapped up in all sorts of verbal wordplay, as well as very entertaining artistic and mythological allusions. This is easily the most commercial song on the album, with the riff-heavy guitar work seeing Peter Gabriel embrace a more commercial arena rock sound, around the same time bands like Queen and the Kinks shifted their sound in a similar direction. Gabriel, however, manages to keep the impulse for mainstream drift in check here, as this is the only song of the album with anything resembling a straightforward arrangement. The fun lyrics combined with the relatively straightforward delivery leads to the song being a rather unique and, in my opinion, underrated entry in Peter Gabriel's discography. Excuse Me starts out a cappella by a barbershop quartet whose harmonization serves as a sort of cold open to the song. After this, it breaks into a more recognizable voice, that of Gabriel, singing a show tune to an antiquated backing consisting primarily of a banjo, a tuba, and what sounds like stock sound effects. I guess every band must have that one show tune song for whatever reason. Beatles fans have Honey Pie. Van Halen fans have Could This Be Magic? Queen fans have Seaside Rendezvous, and Peter Gabriel fans have Excuse Me. Hold on, let me check. Has Bruce Springsteen done one of this type of song yet? I'm not sure. Anyways, the lyrics of the song are cryptic and possibly meaningless, as is the profile of the album. I think it has something to do with wasting money on an addiction, but I'm not absolutely sure. The lyrics here aren't very memorable, and I feel like the experiment here of the song sounding like a show tune didn't really work to make it memorable, as Gabriel seemed to hope so, since many of the others have already done this style of song for better before. Humdrum starts off in a slow ballad style before some castanets show forward into a more flowing, melodic section with lots of lush waves of synth and flowery piano. Despite this progression early on, the song then sort of cuts off after having gone through these movements a couple of times and ends rather too abruptly in my opinion. Still, that might be part of the point. The lyrics are about boredom and disillusionment with a mundane life. There are some good lines thrown in here or there, but the lyrics are subpar compared to the rest of the album, and we have seen other bands cover this topic far better. Now, before we go on to slide 2 of the album, I want to remind you that if you like this style of album review, to please like this video by hitting the thumbs up button below, hit the subscribe button, and consider watching some of my other videos after this one is through. Who knows? If everyone who watches this video subscribes, maybe I will tell you what the smile on my face means. Slowborn starts us off with more swirling keyboards and some nice electric guitar. As this song goes into its chorus, we can hear Bee Gees-style falsetto vocals join in on the chorus to punctuate Gabriel's lines. After the first chorus, a short but sweet electric guitar solo follows. As the song starts to slow down, it goes to just the piano and wind chimes before breaking it back out into a slow melodic electric guitar finale where Gabriel belts out the lyrics. After this, the song sort of trails off into nothing. The song's lyrics are a love song, but one that is wrapped up in lots of mythical imagery. Gabriel compares romance to some sort of theatrics or performance of some kind. Towards the end of the song, the lyrics do, admittedly, start to lose me a bit, but overall I think they work quite well with the music, regardless of the clarity, as is often the case with Gabriel's best songs. Although I think the falsetto vocals were a bit much, and don't really gel with Gabriel's style very well, the rest of the vocals on this song are really good. I especially like the way Gabriel delivers the last few lines. Overall, I'd say Slowborn is a very solid song and a good way to start off the second half of the album. Waiting for the Big One starts off with a jazz-sounding piano, and Gabriel begins his recitation of the lyrics in a breathy tone. As the song begins to wear on, Robert Fripp's electric guitar makes its entrance to add much-needed weight to this section of the song. The bass begins to get louder and heavier as the song goes on, and you begin to get snazzier drum work going on as well as a lot of cymbals. After a while, Fripp goes into a full-out solo that lasts most of the rest of the song. After this, the guitar is joined by a choir that starts off relatively subdued but builds up with the drums to make a rather dramatic ending. The song's lyrics are about a guy who drifts through life aimlessly and who has found himself at a New Year's Eve party. I'm not really sure if there is a point to it other than that the guy seems to be squandering his life away waiting for things to work themselves out when he needs to take more initiative himself. Waiting for the Big One may not be the most memorable or thrilling song of the album, but it has some good playing and a nice sense of progression to it. Down the Dolce Vita starts off with some dramatic horns that portend an ominous future. After this, Cold Open, begins a great rocking electric guitar that sets the song propelling forward. As the song continues on with the more flowing electric guitar parts, it is sometimes broken up by dramatic orchestral sections that serve to add a choppy feeling to the song's wave. The song then stops briefly before breaking into a more rhythmic section of a bunch of ticking and bell sounds, like clocks. This is then joined to dramatic drum beat and electric guitar. The horns then finally join the electric guitar and ushering back in the more free-flowing rock section from earlier on the song, which continues on till the end. The song is about men who go off to sea, determined to find some way to make it back alive against all odds. The song carries with it a theme of determination against the odds that works quite well with the epic music and the ticking clocks, making the song feel like a thrilling race against time. Now, between songs here, there's a short flute coda. It's just there for some reason. Variety, I guess. It's sort of like the middle bun in a Big Mac. Kinda useless, but a nice addition nonetheless. Here Comes the Flood starts with Peter Gabriel singing slowly over some soft keyboards. Eventually, the song breaks into its chorus, which consists of Peter Gabriel leading a group of voices to sing in an ominous-sounding section heralding a great apocalypse. The next verse returns to the same unimpressive ballad stuff, but you do start to have the guitar kick in more and more as the song continues on, eventually leading to a melodic solo that works quite well with the piano. The song is a description of an apocalyptic flood that is coming, one that is seemingly welcomed by the singles. This is some grade A cult stuff here, and the song's lyrics really do describe mass destruction quite well. Here Comes the Flood works as a great way to end the album off on what is a very final note, at least thematically. All the apocalypse stuff feels quite climactic, and it helps that the song is really good too. Okay, that is it for the song-by-song breakdown. And now, for the final song rankings, I give Moribund the Burgermeister, 7 out of 10. Solsbury Hill, 9 out of 10. Modern Love, 9 out of 10. Excuse Me, 5 out of 10. Humdrum, 6 out of 10. Slowborn, 8 out of 10. Waiting for the Big One, 7 out of 10. Down the Dolce Vita, 9 out of 10. Here Comes the Flood, 8 out of 10. So in the end, Peter Gabriel comes out as a mixed bag. On one hand, you've got songs with good lyrics, such as Moribund the Burgermeister, that are lacking a pretty good backing. On the other hand, you have songs like Waiting for the Big One, that have a pretty good backing, but less than stellar lyrics. But the biggest problem here is the songs that fail to have either memorable lyrics or an enthralling backing. This album has plenty of uneven patches, with the ending of side 1 in particular being pretty weak. This is partly remedied by a strong side 2, as well as a good album closer, but it doesn't change the fact that there's a significant lull in quality about a third of the way through the album. Despite the album's relatively strong opening, the songs Excuse Me and Humdrum really do stop the album's opening momentum and almost completely in its tracks. The placement of these songs right next to each other hurts the album's pacing, and Excuse Me probably should have been dropped from the album altogether. Despite the album's major pacing problems, when Peter Gabriel gets all the right ingredients together, he is able to deliver thrilling tracks and in good number too. It is impossible to deny the enduring mysticism of Solsbury Hill, the exhilarating struggle of Down the Dolce Vita, or the sweetness of the glazed ham that is Modern Love. It is also impossible to find fault with Peter Gabriel's spirit of experimentation, nor can I find fault with Robert Fripp's great guitar playing throughout the album. So despite the unevenness of the album and the pacing problems, there's a lot of great stuff here. When the album works, it works great. And when it doesn't, its failings still have merit. With both the high highs and uneven quality, I feel it is fair to give this album a 7 out of 10. As it is really good with some great songs, but it falls a bit short when it comes to making good use of the album format. And now, before we go on, one thing I always like to do at the end is look at the sleeve and packaging of the album. So as you can see, we've got this really nice photo. It's in black and white up here of Gabriel, and you have the core hood that's a nice blue with beads of water on it. It's very nice. It's very simple, but it's very effective, I think. There's kind of a thoughtful look on his face. I quite like it. It is a very good album cover, perhaps Peter Gabriel's best album cover, if I dare say. On the back, you have another picture of him in the car. He's sitting here, there, kind of looking out. Kind of fits the same vibe as the front, I guess. Not too different. Now, some copies of this album came with a printed liner that had a picture kind of like the one on the back of him looking out the side of the window, but where he had like metallic glowing eyes. I don't have that. My version of the album only comes with this Atlantic liner, which is kind of nice, but... So, yeah, I can't show that off here, unfortunately, but it's still a really nice package. I really like the sleeve, the back, and the front work together very well and look very nice together. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed watching, please, once again, be sure to hit the like button, to subscribe. These things help me out a great deal. I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.